A lot has changed since I jumped into real estate. In fact, this is my first business card. I was so proud of this. I'm going to talk to you guys about why real estate is so hard and what people are not telling you in the game. So check this out. I'm standing next to my Prius because today in this video, one of the other things we're going to be doing is giving this Prius away. This was a Prius that when I started right here, this is my first business card in real estate. This was the car I used to drive. I have done probably 1,000 deals in this car over the last 10 years. And that was a big part of my journey. Instead of selling it or taking it to our Montana house, we're giving that car away today. So stay till the end. You guys can see exactly who gets that car today. Now, real estate is challenging. I see a lot of people say, submit 2 offers a day, submit 2 offers a day. Nobody knows what the heck they want to do. In fact, I just took a call from somebody who's not one of my students, but they are one of the people from the YouTube channel. And they said, I follow you, I watch all your videos, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go. So you gotta ask yourself a couple of questions. We're gonna go through that today as well. Eric, who is holding the camera, all right, pop up Eric's head so you guys can see how handsome that guy is. Eric, who's holding the camera, he's in the middle of doing a really creative deal here in Mesa, Arizona. And we're gonna break down why it's not a good deal.
Wait, what?
And why it's not good for a beginner. What we start with today is we talk about what are the reasons real estate is really hard that people don't talk about enough. Number one, there's no money when you're just starting out. You just so hard to find the money. And even though that there is really no excuse to that, because you can get hard money loans, you can get private money loans, you can learn the Gator method, or more importantly, you can use creative finance to do a lot of deals. You've obviously watched a lot of our videos. This is a big fear for people because they have not learned these skills. Okay, great. So that's hard about real estate. You have to learn things that are new. Number 2, time. Oh my gosh. Time is one of the biggest things. And I tell people kind of rudely, and I don't mean to be rude, but I do tell people, hey, you don't have time. If I made a bet with you and I said, okay, let's say your name is YouTube. What's your name? Type it down below. Type it down in the comments down below. What's your name? Okay. Oh, Tim? Your name's Tim? Okay, cool. So Tim, if I came to you and I said, Tim, I'll give you $10,000 if you let me shadow you for a week and I can't find 20 hours of extra inefficient time that I could fix. If I can't do that for you in a week, I'll give you $10,000. Would you take me up on that bet if you had to pay me $10,000 if I could? Do you know how many people has taken me up on that bet? 0, because everybody knows you can find 20 hours a week to do this. But that is a big excuse and why people don't do that. 3, let's talk about the real things. Problems occur in real estate. And that brings me to the deal that we're gonna be talking about today. What's the address of the deal? Okay, so there's a deal that Eric found. Eric actually found this deal. Here are the sellers. Their names are Scott, right? And Amanda, okay. Eric, who's holding the camera right now, Eric actually reached out to them because he saw them post about this problem they have. They have a tenant. Oh my gosh. They've got a tenant in this property that's paying $1,600 a month that stopped paying their mortgage. Guys, if I sent this video to you, and you sent me a DM saying that nobody ever talks about how hard real estate is, let this be the notice to you right now that I'm telling you real estate is very, very, very hard. I'm gonna say that again. Real estate is very, very, very hard, okay? Mostly because you have to learn things that you didn't know before. So boo-hoo, let's cry about how hard it is that I have to learn new skills and come on, let's not be like that. But these tenants are paying $1,600 a month until they stopped 2 months ago. So the challenge is Scott and Amanda, who moved out of this property after they decided to turn into a tenant rental, they don't have the ability to cover the mortgage payment on this more than a couple of months. So they're covering the payments, goes along, and then they go, oh my gosh, we can't afford this. These tenants are now putting pressure on Scott and Amanda, who gave these tenants a place to live. What's now happened is Scott and Amanda are now $3,500 behind on their payments because 2 months of payments have not been made. Tenants are living free. Scott and Amanda now go, oh my gosh, we're in a bad situation. We can't afford these payments. So we're just not going to make them to the bank. So now Scott and Amanda have damaged credit. It is crazy to talk about this, but the reality is Scott and Amanda are real estate investors, just like you want to be a real estate investor. And they have essentially, I shouldn't say failed, but they have ran into problems. Unforeseen problems that will happen 100%. If you have tenants, this 100% will happen to you. If you have rentals, this will happen to you. If you own rentals and you don't have an eviction at some point in your business, then you never put a tenant in the property. The only way that would be possible if you just left all your properties vacant, okay? So Scott and Amanda are sitting here saying, we can't afford the $3,500. Their bank and their credit is getting damaged now. They owe the bank $3,500. The bank's about to send them to foreclosure, which then sends the tenants to get evicted anyway by the new owner if they actually get foreclosed on. But Eric gets in touch with Scott and Amanda beforehand. Eric structures a sub-2 deal. So he says, I'll just take over the payments and I'll catch up the arrears. So let's talk about the breakdown of this deal in a couple of minutes. Eric says, I'll do this. And at first, here's the thing with Eric. Eric starts thinking, I'll buy this myself. So Eric gets me on a Zoom today. We'll give you guys a link to that Zoom down below.
So I was looking to get a total purchase price of $380.
Okay.
And I think the mortgage is about $280.
Yeah, 281,
like,
488.
Yeah, that number.
I got Scott and Amanda on the Zoom. You'll see their motivation. You'll see their goal and what they're trying to overcome. You'll see how we talk to the sellers, some of the things that we go through. And then I think Eric had a realization today of, oh my gosh, there's a lot more to buying a property, evicting the tenant that you have to buy, and take over the tenant. You're not just taking over the payments subject to, but you're taking over the tenants as well. Okay, so let's say Eric buys this deal. Purchase price, again, if you guys want to see the full Zoom of us talking to the seller, we'll put it in the link down below. Purchase price is $381,000. The ARV, by the way, looks like the ARV is like 425, right? Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, the ARV is 425, so that should also answer the question of, Pace, do you buy properties always at full retail? No, we've got a little bit of equity here. Purchase price 381. The sub-2 portion of that is 281. Okay, that's the mortgage, the sub-2 payment. And then the seller wants $100,000 of their equity, and they said, give me a $10,000 down payment and I'll finance the remaining $90,000 at 0% interest at $267 per month for the next 10 years, basically, okay? Now, of course, the mathematicians of you guys in YouTube land are going to say 267 at 12 months of payment and 10 years, that's not a full $90,000. It's not, guys, but this is what we call a balloon, okay? And we can maybe make a whole other video about that in another episode. We're not going to jump on that today. We're going to talk about big problems that you run into as a real estate investor. And one of the reasons why we're giving the car away is to give somebody a leg up who's just getting started in the business, because it is that hard to be in this business. It is challenging to be in this business, and thank goodness it is. I don't want it to be easy. I want it to be a level of requirement to be involved that you have to learn things. You have to learn terminology. You have to practice. You have to do all these things. Dude, look, I'm constantly reading a new book. I've got all sorts of things I'm out here researching. I've got all sorts of stuff I'm constantly learning, and I've been in the game for 10 years, for heaven's sakes. I used to be one of these people. You know how hard it was for me to get into the business? Do you know what I had to do to get into this business? I don't think you know the whole story of this, do you? Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother story by itself. So Eric gets a deal. Purchase price 381, taking over the mortgage of 281, $100,000 of equity, $10,000 down payment. So who's going to come up with that $10,000? Who's going to come up with that? Here's the cost. $10,000 right here. Already there's a cost associated. Okay, cool. Guess what? Remember, we also said $3,500 monthly payment, or I'm sorry, $3,500 of payments that are late. There's another cost. Somebody has to catch up on that, right? So we got $10,000, $3,500 plus closing costs, right? Plus a TC. So if you guys are trying to learn how to be a transaction coordinator that actually does, ooh, we should cut in a little clip of Molly going through this paperwork, just so you guys know I don't do any of my own paperwork because I'm not an idiot. I have a transaction coordinator do all of that kind of stuff.
Are we going to be making this payment to a servicer or directly to them?
Servicer. So if you guys are trying to become a transaction coordinator, there will be a link maybe down below. So TC plus closing costs are probably like $5,500 to $7,000 depending on the title company. Okay, great. So my costs associated with this, if Eric is going to buy this deal, okay, even with no credit check, right? Even with, he has no credit, he doesn't need a bank, there's still money. There's still money to be involved. And even though I'm using creative finance for the majority of it, I still have to come up with, where's the money coming from? Is it my personal cash? Is it a private money lender? How am I going to buy this deal? That's a challenge. Oh my gosh. Well, that's not just the only challenge, my friends. The other challenge is now, even if I close on this $10,000, $3,500, $7,000, so let's just say it's $20,000 to get into this deal. $20,000 out of pocket to buy this deal. Okay, well now Eric looks at that and goes, okay, well I'm okay with that because when I buy the deal, it's gonna cash flow $600 a month. Okay. $20,000 to get $600 a month. That's challenging, so you gotta play the patience game, right? Problems, patience. You gotta have patience. You're willing to put $20,000 in. The problem is, here's the bigger problem. The bigger problem is now, these tenants are not just gonna move out because Eric's a nice guy with silver hair. That's not why they move out. They move out because they have to get their ass evicted. They're bums. They're freaking bums. Tenants are bums. People that don't pay their rent are bums and they're thieves. If you're a Democrat, kiss my ass. Okay, you think that this is okay, that people can just rob and steal from landlords? These people aren't wealthy landlords. They can't miss, if one payment is missed by their tenants, they're screwed. You think all landlords are greedy sons of No. So now, here's what's gonna happen. If these tenants are pieces of and they haven't made their payments to Scott and Amanda go, Eric, please take this off our plate. Eric goes, okay, no problem. I'm gonna put $20,000 up, or maybe Eric can go over to a private money lender and he can get the $20,000, or a gator lender and they can come up with the $20,000. Cool. Well, guess what? Now, here we are, this is February. Eric now has a $2,000 monthly payment. It's March. Eric now has another $2,000 monthly payment. And during these 2 months, he's gonna spend about $7,000 to evict these tenants in legal fees and other things. He's gonna have about $11,000 in cost just to get these pieces of out of this house. So now it's not 20, it's 11. Then, here we are, April. He's got another $2,000 payment. And now he's probably got about a $15,000 to $20,000 cost to go in and renovate the property, fix the drywall, paint, carpet, appliances, whatever it is that these piece of tenants decided to leave in the situation. Eric, or the buyer, is gonna have to deal with that. So you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, I got calculate there, oh my gosh, all right. Guess what? Now I renovate, and I guess what I have? I have to market that property all the way through May and make another $2,000 monthly payment. And then June, I finally get my first tenant in at $2,600 a month, and I make $600 that month. Oh my gosh. 2,000, let's say 20,000, so $24,000 in that. 11,000 there, 35,000. Okay, so I'm $55,000 in cash out of pocket to buy a deal that didn't require any credit or any credentials, and I got into it actually pretty inexpensively. But guess what I had to do? I had to deal with tenants and evictions and bull crap and renovations and contractors. Like, there's so many things involved here that are problems that make real estate investing very, very hard. Okay, have you heard me complain about how hard real estate is? Have we gotten to that point? We're all on the same page that yes, it's hard? Okay, great. It's kind of part of it. Do you think that Tiger Woods complains every time, I gotta practice, man, I gotta practice, I gotta do, I watched a meme the other day, or not a meme, but a reel. He said he used to putt 200 times in a row, 4-foot putters 200 times. If he missed one time, even if it was 199 and he missed, he started all the way back at 1 and he would go back and hit 200 4-foot putts in a row. You guys just think this stuff comes natural? You think this all comes natural? Thank God it doesn't. Thank God you have to learn these things because it removes all the people from the pack. There's a reason why there's the 1%. So you can make a decision. Do you want to be in the 1% and learn these skills and actually become a champion? Or do you want to be somebody that complains about how hard things are? When things are hard, I am grateful because I go, good. I'm glad this is hard. It keeps everybody else out of the business. There's no competition in real estate. There is no competition because 99% of people won't do real estate for 2 days in a row, let alone 1 day in a row, okay? So what's the solution? Let's talk about that. What is the solution for, let's say, Eric? All right, and what's interesting too is you think about Scott and Amanda, they're super sweet, so I don't mean to criticize them at all, but guess what they are right now? They're stressed out because they're working at a 9-to-5 job that only pays them a certain amount of money, they only have a certain amount of options, and when a tenant takes advantage of them, they can't solve their problems. They become stressed out. Because of that stress, they go to Eric. Eric then goes, I can alleviate your stress because Eric knows just a little more. The reality is, Eric has multiple ways to make money from this. So Eric could look at this and go, okay, it's not $20,000, it's $55,000 to get into this deal, hypothetically, somewhere around there, okay? Eric can look at that $55,000 and say, this is hard, real estate's hard. Or Eric can do a couple of different things. Eric can go, A, I'm gonna bring on a PMP or a gator that's going to come in and cover this cost of the $55,000, and I'm gonna take 50% of the deal and I'll give them 50% of the deal. Therefore, Eric, on my 50%, I'm zero out of pocket, and the gator who didn't have to find the deal, they're the ones that bring the 55K and they get half of the deal. There's a good structure. And now that makes it so Eric doesn't have to have any risk. He doesn't have to have any cash in the deal. That makes real estate a lot easier, okay? Collaborating with a gator or a private money lender. Cool. Eric can go, I'm going to wholesale this. Why? He's going to wholesale this hypothetically. I don't know what he's going to do here. We'll figure out what he does. Maybe we'll do a part 2 or a follow-up. Eric could just go, hey, Pace, I want to wholesale this to you and make a $7,000 to $10,000 fee. And now Eric, here's the challenge. Eric gets today money instead of forever money. And Pace, who knows just a little more than Eric, is willing to be patient for his return. So yes, real estate can be hard, but people like Eric, when you understand the options in making money, Eric can just go, I can make $10,000 and just give it to somebody else. I could partner with somebody else and get half the deal. Or Eric, if he's dumb, yes, you'd be dumb. Eric, if he's dumb, would put up $55,000 of his own money to make $600 a month in cash flow. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think the way to do it is go, I don't want to have money in the deal. I don't want to deal with these problems with my own capital and have it at risk. I want to go and bring in a private money partner or a gator so I can start owning portions of real estate and bring people in that have a little bit more access to cash than I do, okay? Wholesale makes it so somebody like Pace or a buyer who maybe is in their journey a little bit longer. Now, here's what sucks about this. I'm taking on all the problems of these people and Eric, and I'm going to inherit a tenant that I have no idea what to do. However, I know just a little bit more than the next person. I have a little bit more risk tolerance than the next person. And so I'm willing to wait for this $381,000 property to go up in value to $600,000 and get paid down because, I'll own this for 10 years, let's say, and I'll have this go down to $280,000 in 10 years. And I will make a significant amount of money on that property. I'll make $320,000 on that property, not including tax benefits, not including cash, not including all the other benefits of real estate. But here's the difference. For the first 2 to 5 years, you see this little gap right here? That requires what we call patience. I got patience, baby. I got patience. I'm willing to wait that long. And so where you're having a hard time and why you're having a hard time understanding real estate is because you don't know how you play in all of this. You're trying to do all of it. You're looking at me buying real estate or Brandon Turner buying real estate, Grant Cardone buying real estate and holding real estate and having teams. Do you guys know how big my teams are? Guys, look at all these properties right here. Look at all these conversations that are going on all these properties that I own. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties. By the way, do you know how much my RV park made this month?
No.
$40,000 it brought in. My costs are 18 grand. I made $22,000 this month on that RV park. First month owning it.
Wow.
But it was a $5 million purchase. And you know how long it took to negotiate that? 6 gosh damn months. 6. But while you are complaining about how hard this is, I'm reveling in the fact that this is hard. And I'm helping people figure out, where do you play in all of this? Because Scott and Amanda, okay, if I was Scott and Amanda, here's what I would do differently. Instead of me selling the property and let Eric make the money, here's what I would do. Scott and Amanda have damaged their credit because their tenant sucks, and they're willing to walk away with $10,000 down payment. They could have found a buyer to pay them $20,000 down payment. Better yet, if I were them, I would go to them and say, I would have Scott and Amanda learn how to bring on a financial partner, and I would go get Scott and Amanda to get a private money lender to help them out and go, hey, loan us $20,000 against the property so we can evict the tenant, get it cleaned up, and get it rented back out, and we'll give you 10% of the profit on this property. And in 3 years, see, this is going to be challenging. Some of this is going to go over your guys' head. Again, more stuff to learn so you can dominate. In 3 years, have Scott and Amanda refinance the property, pay off that $20,000 to that lender, get that $20,000 back, and get that 10% back from that lender. Pretty simple. And now Scott and Amanda still own that property. And now Scott and Amanda, who are willing to let me take this property, okay? Dude, like in 10 years, this is crazy. Think about this. Let's do a little Google search, okay? How much has real estate appreciated since 2000? Ooh, how about this? Increase in 30 years. 400% in 3 years, or 30 years. 400%. It's hard because it requires patience. Everything is hard because it requires patience. If Scott and Amanda held out and solved their problem by bringing on a private money lender, they could keep the asset, kick that tenant out, and get back on the thing. But now instead they're like, a little bit of pain, I'm stepping out. This is an opportunity for people who know just a little bit more. And then Eric goes, I don't want to deal with that. Maybe, potentially, we'll see what he does. And he goes, I'm going to sell this to somebody who knows just a little bit more. So the person who knows just a little bit more and is willing to do just a little bit more work is the person that ultimately makes the massive amounts of spread. And then when people wake up and they go, how does Pace have $100 million net worth? I don't know when that will happen, but it will happen soon. How does Pace have $100 million net worth? It's because Pace was patience. I was patient and I knew just a little bit more. So yes, real estate is hard. But if real estate's hard, you can always wholesale. If real estate is hard, you can always lend money. In fact, if I'm a gator, one of the easiest ways to be involved in real estate. Creative finance, one of the easiest ways to be involved in real estate. Private money lenders, one of the easiest ways to get involved in real estate. You don't have to be the landlord. If you're so worried about being in real estate and landlording, then don't be the landlord. Eric, how much time did it take for you to potentially make $10,000 on this deal? How much time have you put into it? Like literally put time into?
An hour.
An hour. Have you ever made $10,000 in an hour in your entire life?
No.
This is the easiest work you'll ever do. Mm-hmm. Now, it took you some time to learn and be in a position from being this person who is stressed about hearing about this to then going, I know just a little bit more than I did last year, right? Mm-hmm. That now your value is now at $10,000 per hour. That's insane to think about. Wow. You'll probably put 2 hours of work in. So maybe it's like
total, yeah.
$5,000 per hour if you make 10 grand, right?
Yeah.
So guys, yes, real estate is hard. We're gonna be giving away a car today on this YouTube video, so stick around to the end, you'll see exactly who wins it. It's the real miracle of life.
That's it. Welcome, welcome, come on in, come on in.
Come on in, guys, come on in.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Awesome.
Consistency.
Welcome, guys. Great to have you here. It's gonna be great. Don't just sit there silently.
Talk so much. Okay?
That's it. to wholesale hotline number 201.
We are going to be giving away a Toyota Prius.
What?
Can I tell you the history of this Prius for a minute?
I would love it.
I was a contractor when I bought this Prius, and I was running my construction company and my wholesale business simultaneously. So I was going to job sites and driving my truck, and then I would stop into a wholesale appointment in between my construction stuff, and I'm like, why am I freaking driving a truck around? This is dumb. So I go get a Prius.
Yep.
And man alive, this Prius was the greatest thing I've ever driven. Still to this day, I drive a Prius primarily as my main driver. I'm like, well, how are you getting around? He goes, I spend like $30, $40 a day on buses and Ubers and this, that, and the other. And I go, dude, I'll take you. Take him there. I've got my son with me. On the drive home, my son is like, Dad, we should give a car to Larry. I was like, we should give a car to Larry. So, Larry, we love you. Proud of you. You're working hard. You need momentum. Everybody needs momentum. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in the community for helping each other. That's what this is all about. So, welcome to Wholesale Hotline 2024.
Here we go.
Okay.
You got the key? Thank you, brother. Thank you, Pace. Thank you, Subto, the greatest community on earth.
All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.